Hello, everyone. Okay, nobody's listening to me. I'm already pissed. I'm sorry. Before I even go through my presentation, I need to say something. We are all talking about mindset, changing the mindset and everything. I've noticed this for the past 3 days. Whenever it's time for snack, the snack that is given, the number of people for the snack is not enough, and I see people taking more than they can take. We are supposed to be a team. I just went there, I couldn't get snack, I couldn't get drink. I'm serious. And now I have to present with an empty stomach, so please. Yeah, maybe, Yomi Yogurt, you need to give me something because I need that energy right now. Anyways. My name is Niaite, and I'm representing Group 6. And our topic today is on team development strategies, teamwork, and dynamics. Do you all hear me? If you can hear me, clap once. No, you can't hear me. If you can hear me, clap 2 times. If you can hear me, say, hey, yo. Now you can hear me. Okay. If you indulge me, I would want to skip introducing my honorable team members who made this possible, and move into our objectives. And as I said, we're talking about team development strategies, teamwork, and dynamics. At the end of my presentation, I'm hoping that everyone would know what teams are, to be clear in your mind who is part of your team, advantages of a team, the importance of effective communication in a team, how to overcome barriers to communication, how to use the 5 golden rules to communication, the purpose of a team meeting, how to have productive team meeting. Now, to set me off, we are going to look at a notable quote from Henry Ford. I believe we all know who Henry Ford is. He happens, only one person said yes, so which means not everybody knows who Henry Ford is. If you are familiar with Ford Motors, he happens to be the owner of the Ford Motor Company, the 4x4 Explorers and things. I see most people have Ford cars here, so he is the owner of the company. And he had an interesting quote on teamwork, and it says, coming together is a beginning, staying together is process, and working together is success. Murphy also says, behind every genius is a team. When people play off each other's skills and knowledge, they can create solutions that are practical and useful. Each and every one of us sitting here is a member of a team. We all are representing an institution, an organization, be it you're working for yourself, but you still have people under you as a team, which means you have skills that your organization needs. And that skill is what is helping your organization to achieve the common goal. So do not see yourself as just a person in your workplace. You are a strong team member. From the janitor to the gardener to the CEO, everybody has a role to play. Now, what is a team? Sorry, I told you my mouth is dry. Team is made up of individuals coming together, focused on a common goal. They are developed if the need be, and this development is to make the team capable of achieving that common goal. Every organization has a common goal, a vision, a mission. But it's up to the team members to ensure that the organization or the institution achieves this common goal. We all understand that, right? And we all believe that, don't we? Can I hear a yeah? Say it louder. I want to feel connected. I don't feel connected. Do you, or do you believe that? Great. That is it. Now, in the team, we have team members. And a team member is an individual who plays a particular role in ensuring the achievement of a goal. Therefore, communication, acknowledging individual roles, and understanding their common goals is paramount. When the last speaker came, we were all talking about, what is it called, incentives. And there was so much argument about, should we give it to an individual, should we give it to a group? And you find that with all this, yes, both parties are right. But then you find that in most cases, people actually, when it comes to incentivizing like a group, there are people who just pass through. And we'll talk about this in my presentation. And there are people who actually carry the whole team around. But then at the end of the day, everybody wants to be given an incentive. So this is where choosing your team members is very, very, very important. Now, what are the advantages of a team? We have cohesiveness. We have flexibility. We have improved productivity. We have building trust and saving time to reduce stress. Now, to break this down, I believe we all watch football. Do we? Okay, so even if you don't watch football, we all love the Black Stars. No? They are not too sure. Okay, no problem. I usually like to use a team whenever I'm doing teamwork. Team as in sports. Thank you. Who said Chelsea? Who? Yeah, the best team in the world right now. You can, no, I'm sorry. You can dispute that, but until somebody takes the world best from us, we're still the best team in the world, so yes. Now, back to the team. Back to the team. How many players do you need to form a team, a football team? 11. Good. Which means every single person on that pitch has something to offer. From the goalkeeper, to the defense, to the wing backs, to the right wing, to the left wing, to the strikers. If you take one person out, for instance, you take your goalkeeper out, do you still have a team? You don't. Which means your team is now susceptible to goals. If you do not choose the right team, what happens? Sorry? 11-0, which means everybody is about to score, yes. So when you're putting out your team, you're putting out the right team, the strongest you can find, to ensure that your goals are met. Now, this cohesiveness is what brings everybody together. The coach comes in with his strategy. He adopts a strategy. We're doing a 4-4-2, we're doing a 3-4-2 diamond, we're doing whatever strategy is given out. Now, it's up to you, the team members, to ensure that the coach's strategy is well taken out. If one person decides not to defend, the opposition team sees it and takes advantage of it. That means there's a weakness in your team. Flexibility. A team member has to be flexible. Flexible in the sense that, I think my auntie there was saying something about accounting, and it's your job or it's not your job, I should do this, I shouldn't have done this. And this is where I feel flexibility comes in. Every team member should be able to be flexible enough to take up another person's duty if the person is not even taking it. And this is where the mindset also sets in. We are in institutions, organizations where if one person starts something, then it's your job. It's not my job. If the person is not there, nobody is willing to take it. That becomes an issue. So the flexibility is necessary in a team. building trust. Every time you're in a team, the first thing that brings you all together is the trust. Now, do you get to trust each other immediately? No. Because you're coming from different backgrounds. It takes time to build that trust. But the moment that trust is built, you form a very big team, which means it's a strong team that can actually go everywhere. Saves time and reduces stress. Teamwork improves customer service, we said. One of the benefits of teamwork is effective communication amongst team members. This is key. Effective communication. How do I know what I'm supposed to do if I don't tell you to do it? So which means I can't come back to you and tell you, well, I asked, you didn't do this, you should have done this. Communication. Oh, I need this done. Ma'am, I need A, B, C done. Can you do it? Yes. Let's go on. Effective communication. Now to move on to the stages of development. These stages of development, we have 4 stages. We have the forming stages, we have the storming stages, the norming stages, and then the performing stages. Yesterday, I went through all 4 stages. Ask me why. We were all placed in groups yesterday, and in different groups. You did not know what groups you were going to. Some found people in their groups that they already knew. Most of us did not find anybody that we know. When we got to the group, how did you feel? The first time, be honest. When you got into your first group, how did you feel? How did you feel?
I feel very bad a little bit because I don't know each of them.
How did you feel?
Well, for me, I felt so excited because I knew, well, I'm going to make new friends. Good.
Now you see, there were different emotions going around. I, for one, I was nervous. Yes, I was nervous in the sense that I did, you know, the fear of the unknown. You are trailing into something you don't know. So you meet people and you don't know who the person is. There are people who are older than me. There are people I was the same age with. There are people I was older than. But then how do you communicate? So it took me time to build. So I was there trying to fidget around, and then some people had already picked, like Auntie Comfort and Auntie Rita, they had already picked up, they knew what they were about, and going on. I was like, oh, Charlie. So the first 10 minutes, honestly, I didn't know what I was about. Like, I was just there sitting down, okay, what are we supposed to do? Then it started picking on. And I realized that that stage was the forming stage. This will explain better. The forming stage, team acquaints and establishes ground rules. Familiarities are formed and preserved. Now, because even though we had met a day before, we were still strangers to each other. So it was difficult to just come in and be like, hey, Charlie, what's up? And things like that. You want to like reserve yourself sometimes. You know, sometimes you want to also play cool, you know now, Charlie. But these are things that we saw, I realized. Then we went into the storming stage. And the storming stage was like members that started communicating their feelings, but still viewed each other as strangers. And I saw this because right after that first stage, which is the forming stage, I got into the storming stage, and I realized that now I was becoming a bit cool, like, okay. Then the break for a snack came in, which I prayed for. Unfortunately, I still didn't get anything, but it's okay. So we went for the break, and right there, I was chatting with my friend, my group members, and we're talking, and then I was becoming comfortable. And then we came back from the break. And then when we came back from the break, I realized now I was entering into the norming stage. The norming stage became like a normality for me, like I became normal. I'm now myself. People feel part of the team and realize that they can achieve work if they accept others' viewpoints, So at the norming stage, I found myself talking more. Like, now I'm talking, I'm contributing, I'm making like jokes and things. Then we went to the performing stage. Now, the performing stage, I want to ask, for those who came up to present, how many of you actually nominated yourself? You did? Then you're a genius. I did not. And I know we went through 4 different people to get to me. It was between Anti-Comfort, Anti-Rita. No, I'm not doing it. You do it. You talk better. No. Why is it me? You go. Okay, now it's going to be Mills. And Mills are really me. You could see the face, the blood really drained off his face. Like, okay. So me, I was there because nobody's mentioning my name. I was like, okay, cool. Between the 3 of you, you do whatever you want to do as long as it gets presented. Fortunately, unfortunately, Mills decided I was going to do it. And I was scared. Like, I started developing cotton mouth. Like, what am I going to say? How am I going to present this? Mindset, changing the mindset. That moment, I decided, you know what? It's a challenge. Take it up. And I went for it. So, hence, I'm the one presenting for you. So from the performing stage, you go to the final stage, which is the adjourning stage. Now the team conducts an assessment of the year and implements a plan for transitioning role and recognizing members' contribution. Now this is the final stage. Now we are all family. We are now a team. I know who is doing this. I know who is doing that. I know who I can go to when I need help. I know who is supposed to handle this. Now the bond has been formed. We move on. We already talked about this. Now, roles in team meeting. We have an interesting picture up there. And if you look closely, you can find yourself there. No insults. We have the jokers. And this is not a bad thing. Every group needs a joker, especially when it's tensed. Like, you need somebody to, just like the icebreaker Mr. Said gave, you need somebody to just cool off nerves. We have somebody who has a lot to say. And it's not a bad thing. Most times, people who have a lot to say are educated. Because every topic, they have something to say. They contribute, and they set the ball rolling. And we have the people who agree with everyone. They are there as a team. And then we have hangs on to an idea. These people are also good. It's not a negative thing, but sometimes they tend to hold you back so much that you do not achieve the goal that you have set yourself to do. Because they hang on to the same idea. Yeah, I said this is okay. Everybody goes around and okay, let's move on. But I said no, this one we should have done it this way and things. So it brings you back. And then we have the person who keeps changing the subject. We're talking about teamwork. Charlie, did you watch the ball yesterday? Charlie, my betting loss, they are there. And then we have the aloof, doesn't get involved. They are there, the team is going on, the meeting is going on, but then, so what did they say? What happened? What did they say? And then we have the reliable pluggers that keep the team on track. We had 2, actually. We had 2. Anti-Rita and Anti-Comfort. Anti-Comfort is not here today. They were the ones on top of the game, ensuring that we do what we have to do quickly. Like, let's go, let's go, let's go. So these are roles that team play in a meeting. Just 2 minutes and I'll finish. Thank you. All right. I'm sorry I'm taking more time. So let's go to the importance of effective communication. I won't go through it just because of time, but then you could see we have a diagram there. It goes in a cycle. It's all about encoding and decoding. Now, the sender of the message conceives a thought. How do I get that thought to, what's your name, please?
I'm Jeremiah Ofer Tete.
So Jerry, so how do I communicate my thoughts for Jeremiah to understand? Now that thought I have to translate the thoughts into words or action. That's the encoding. I give it to him, he receives it and decodes whatever I've said. For instance, I'm hungry. And I go like, Charlie Jerry, I dey hungry. You go get pizza this time, we go chop. Do you understand the message?
Yeah.
So, all this said, it goes to the communication. Whatever you're doing in terms of communication, you need to be precise, you need to be simple. Ensure that whoever you're giving the information to understands you properly and is able to carry out the orders that you're giving. All right. I'll just run through this. Discuss and agree on solutions. That's where you agree to disagree. You summarize your information and then you follow up on the progress. I will not go through the purposes of it and then just move on. Okay, so that's the last one. So how do you know if a team meeting is productive? One of the things is an idea needs to be formed, clear agenda and action list, participation of every member, tolerance of divergent views amongst members, exchange of information, brainstorming, and problem solving. Now with this, I'll say thank you for giving me time, Mr. Osei, to finish up. But I didn't do this alone. So may I just mention my honorable members who helped out in this. Richmond Parker, where are you? Are you in the house? Good. Richmond is behind there. Mills, so that's Odalai. Joyce Mensah, Comfort Dake, Mabel, Adanoti, Joy Mate, Rita Tete, Sarah Lamte, Judith Manka. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, feedback for him. How did you find the presentation? Copy it. Yes, yeah.
This was excellent. Can I pick on something he said that, is it possible that we can have a WhatsApp group for all the people in here so that maybe even after we continue to communicate? Oh, thank you, that's fine. Then I just wanted to say something on communication. I wanted to focus on effective communication the way he just said it. To say that sometimes we don't get to be heard because we are not asking ourselves when to communicate, what to communicate. The packaging itself is very important. Have you ever noticed that sometimes I can talk to you like 15 minutes. When I'm done, you say, so what did you say? It happens a lot of the time. So it points to the packaging. What are you communicating to me about, and what do you want me in particular to help you with? Then when you can say somebody is already dashing out or what, find a convenient time to do so. How also we covered it yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I must commend my brother very well. In fact, he was able to be so practical and sustain our motivation. Thank you.
Yes, any?
Yes, thank you. Mine is not really about the presentation. The presentation was excellent. I was always so particular about the bottle. He opens, he drinks, and he doesn't close back. And I was always like, there's every possibility that once he's moving about, he will spill the water. And it's something you should be very careful about because, yes, once you've learned safety, you have to be mindful at all times. Yes, you open, you don't close, and you also put it on the very, yes. So,
Thank you for your presentation. I noticed one thing. It's not a backlash. Like choosing a background image and the font color. You should be mindful of that so that it will stand out, so that everybody can see whatever you wrote in front of the image.
Where we have Ford. Where we have Ford.
Yes, please.
And his statement.
Oh, yeah.
You see, what? But I think your slide is the projection. You can't read from there. Yeah. Any other? Okay. So his voice was very good. He has the subject also. He can control it. It's very good, and he involved us. He involved us. So those are the things you're looking for. But then, you see, you're making a presentation, and initially you told me there are 4 stages. There are 4 stages of the communication. Somewhere you said 4 stages.
Oh, yeah. It's actually, it's supposed to
I
be
think
5 stages.
this one.
Yeah.
So these are the 4 stages. Then later on, it went to 5.
Yeah.
So which one are we taking?
The 5.
So you are the facilitator. So you should be in control. You should let me know. At this stage, it is 5. The previous one is 4. You see? So when Tuckman, there is a Tuckman, the man who started this, Tuckman, he started with the 4 models. Now he has moved to the 5th one, adjournment or even termination, whatever term you may use. So it keeps on changing. So you let your people know. First, it was 4, but now no, it is 5. So that we learn, unlearn, relearn. Good. Well done. Yes, which group is coming? Yeah, okay.
Good morning. My name is Ajua Moa, and this is Jessica. We represent Group 7. And we are speaking on 2 topics, an introduction to HSE, and then 5S, the 5 S's. So, okay. I think we are the last group, or are there more? Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, so like I said, we are doing an introduction. So I will start with the introduction to the HSE. So these are our group members. They are within the audience. Group members, say hi. Hey, okay, I seem to have more backup. Don't worry. If you were not here yesterday, you didn't get a group, you can join us freely. We are not charging. All affiliate members, say hi. Oh, man, yes. Okay, so for our learning outcomes, that's the objective of this presentation. We are hoping that by the end, we will all understand the HSE concept and then also know what it requires, what the HSE concept requires. and also have a clear understanding of the 5S concepts, which Auntie told us that we'll do much later after the other group has presented. Darling, what do you mommy vein? Why? Sorry, for those who don't understand Chi. So, HSE is very important at the workplace because let's look around us here. I know we are not in the office, but today we are all using this place. Can we look around here and see whether we have any safety issues? Anyone at all? Okay, there's a hand at the back. Awesome. Anybody else? Somebody is talking about the switches that are exposed. Awesome, yes. From the first day we learned we are all hazards. There's no exit sign. Okay, I haven't seen one. If you have, you can show us. Yes. Hey, Charlie. Okay, so there are quite a lot of safety issues, even from here. So as we go back, we'll become more observant and begin to observe the safety issues in our environment and see what we can do about them. It's also for people to work well and prevent hazards. Let me ask, how many of us remember the June 3rd disaster? It's very sad, but I think that would be a good example. I think it's about 2015, okay. How many people also remember the Takoradi gas explosion? If you remember, show your hand. Okay. For the Takoradi gas explosion, we would all agree that it came out of probably HSE. I don't know all the details. My uncle, unfortunately, was a victim. Thankfully, he survived. So he was nowhere close to that, to the location. But because of things that went wrong, he was affected from a very far distance. The June 3rd disaster, we might not see it as sort of an HSE outcome. But as we go on and we look at the various terminologies, we'll see why it is an HSE issue. All right. So HSE, like we learned on the first day, the H is for health, the S is for safety, and the E is for environment. And you can relax. The slides will be sent to everybody. Everybody will get a slide. And basically, it is what we have to do to ensure that our organizations don't cause any physical harm to an individual or even our environment. Why do we have to do it? It promotes the physical, mental, and social well-being of the employees. It also protects employees like you and I from risk of not following the right precautions. It also helps to provide welfare facilities. You can't work in a place that doesn't have something like washrooms. Ladies, let me see your hands in the air. Have you been to a salon that doesn't have a washroom before? If you need to use a wash, you see how inconvenient it becomes. Yes, HSE takes care of these kind of things. And it helps us to maintain our environment. The businesses and then the work that we do, it falls within a certain environment. So directly or indirectly, our activities affect our environment. And it's also for ethical, financial, and legal reasons. I can start with that one. The ethical reason is it might not necessarily be required by law, but you know that it is just good to do it. I mean, I work here. The cables, it hasn't really, there is no, I don't know whether there is, okay, I think there is something like that. But basically what I'm saying is, the law did not say that if you don't have this under a trunk cable, you will be jailed. But because you are as human as I am, and you know that it can cause harm to me or to whoever the employee is, you decide that, okay, let me do it. That is ethical. There's also the financial reason. Sometimes we look at it and say that the cost is so high. But overall, initially it might look like the cost is high. But when you look at the savings you will make from not having to pay medical bills and compensation and all that, you realize that in the end it's far cheaper for you as an organization. And finally, we also have the legal implications. There are some standards that you simply have to abide by. If you don't, the penalties are huge. We all saw the implication from the Newmont, the kind of fines they had to pay. Sometimes I think that they spared them too much, but if they were to apply the full law, I tell you, it would have been huge. You can't bring back a life, but it can cost an organization. So in the end, it's far cheaper. So these are the technologies that are associated with HSC. We have accidents, we have incidents, we have ill health, and we have hazard. We'll talk about, I've already talked about, okay, I'll talk about the risk in a bit more details. The accident and the incidents, they are both circumstances that we don't desire. Nobody wants to die because they were working in a particular location or to have a serious injury. But the difference between an accident and an injury is that the accident will actually let the incident occur. Somebody actually got injured. Somebody actually died. But when it comes to an incident, it nearly happened, but it didn't happen. That's the main difference between the two. Ill health, people will have serious diseases or something that is repetitive, but it is just because something was not done right. And then the hazard is, it can happen to an individual, it can happen to the environment. And then risk, the possibility of something happening because an issue was ignored. Something could have been done about it. So this is where I will bring in my June 3rd disaster. Everybody who cooks within that circle enclave, everybody who sells along that line or has a form of business knew that when we pour our garbage, our bola, into the Odona drain, it can cause a flood. But everybody ignored it. I do it tomorrow, my friend does it the next time. It piled up. But when the flood came, it went all the way to the Goyle area, the Vienna City area, and in the end, when the fire set up, so many people were affected. So it might look like it wasn't a direct impact from the safety issues and health issues. But all those who were cooking there, the way you and I have our office, that is their business zone. So they indirectly contributed to it. Do we now get why it was a health and safety issue? Okay. These are images of one of, I'm sure you get it, it's yours. You can take your time and go through. It's not tied to any particular one. Then we'll look at the environmental aspect, which is waste management. Depending on the business you do, we all produce some kind of waste. It could be chemical wastes, solid waste, liquid waste. It's in all forms. But the reason why these are captured here is that waste impacts the environment, sometimes even the individual. And the three objectives for the purpose of this presentation is that we want to minimize environmental impact. Everybody is talking about the SDGs, global warming, too much heat. Those in the Europe are talking about how high the temperatures are, okay? And then we want to protect the workers that are handling the wastes. Zoomlion tells you clearly, don't put ashes inside the bin, okay? The reason is that it could melt it, but some of us don't listen. So that is the part about handling the waste. The Zoomlion guys, they lift the waste. The person can get burns, he can get infections. They say don't put diapers in there because probably there is a way that the processing has to be done. But sometimes we disobey and we put it there. The last one is to minimize the business risk. If we create serious issues, we can be sued. Then how should you manage your waste? You need to list the kind of waste that you produce. The type of waste you produce shows how you handle it. The waste from the restaurant cannot be handled the same way as the waste from maybe Valco or Nestle. Chemical implications come out, or even Tema Oil Refinery. The two will have to be treated differently. So knowing what kind of waste you produce determines how you will manage it. Then we need to characterize our waste. That is, we group them. And then more importantly, maintain records. The record maintenance is very important for those who are into the toxic chemical industry. Is there anybody from there here? You produce chemical, is anybody like that here? Okay, but we all have an idea. The fuel production, the gas production, those ones. Anybody who is into Dettol and shampoo and those things, those people deal with, they deal with chemical items, so we need to be cautious how we handle them. And then we should have a clear written rule for waste management. A very good example for this one would be the hospitals. Nyaho is here, well represented. The way you handle the syringes, the blades, the bottles, the one that you used to have the injection inside, the way you handle them is not the way you handle the waste from sweeping the floor. If you observe the hospital environment, for the breakables and the ones that can harm you, they use the step-on bins. The whole reason is that they don't want you handling it, putting your hand there, you can get infected. It's possible that the blade cuts somebody. When you do the direct contact, you can get infected. So they don't want to have too much personal contact with it. Step on it, drop it inside. But if it is just pure water sachet, you can just drop it in the regular bin. And if it is not foot press, it's okay. Then finally, you need to know that if it is not documented, it has never happened. The documentation is very important. Okay, for the purposes of my side, this would be the end. Thank you. I'm open to questions and feedback. Okay, there's a hand at the back. Please, can we have a microphone for the gentleman here?
Yes, thank you very much. In general, you did very well. I want you to go back to where you had the accident, incidents, and hazard, ill health. Yes.
This
yes,
one?
This.
Okay.
So, accidents, undesired circumstances leading to ill health, injury. That's
Yes,
fine.
yes.
Incidents, undesired circumstance resulting in near misses. Please, incidents could also be accidents. So, you don't limit it to near misses. Hazard, potential to cause hazard to humans and the environment. Potential to cause harm instead of hazard.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
For accident and incidents, that one, the incident results in a near miss. It didn't
Incidents
happen.
can result in accidents. They can
Okay,
result
it can
in near
result
misses.
in, I was trying to make a distinction. You know, there is this temptation that if it's an incident, it is overlooked. But I think that our trainers put them there to make us know that even if it did not result in an accident, you need to record it and take proactive measures to ensure that it does not result in an accident.
Yes.
That's the main idea.
Yes, I'm trying to, as I'm drawing your attention that incidents can be accidents, they can be near misses. All accidents are incidents.
Okay.
All near misses are
It came
incidents.
from- okay.
But not all incidences are accidents.
Okay,
Good.
thank you. Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot for your presentation. When dealing with accident, I was expecting to go a little bit deeper to talk about type of accident at the workplace. Yes, but she has finished. Hasn't she finished? She has finished, and I'm saying that dealing with the workplace, I was expecting her to go further to give us the type of accident, lost time accident, and the rest. We have different type of accident, and the need for us to report. Yeah.
Okay.
For me, it's on your objectives and yes, yeah. So we have three things in terms of when we set objectives. Remember, from day one, we were saying the things that we can measure and the things. So we have things that are to do with the psychomotor skills, the movement and the so on. These ones we can see. If I say jump, if you are able to jump, I can see that you have done it. And then we have the cognitive skills where I can say calculate 2 plus 3. I see you have done it. But we have the third one, which is the affective domain. But then when you look at things like affective domain, you sent me to say this thing that so the affective domain is the one where we have our emotions in there, the love, the hate. When somebody says, oh, so it's your birthday, I bought you a Lamborghini. Maybe because they have money, you think they've bought for you alone. They've bought for other 2 or 3 women, so you think you are loved. But the person can just afford and they know it will, yeah. So, but what I wanted to say is now, words like understand, appreciate, and they cannot really be measured directly. So we need to change that so that we talked about SMART objectives, is it not?
Evaluation, you can measure it. For trainings, that's why at the end of the training. Yes. Yes, I understand it. So look at the first, he said at the end of this session. So there's time there. And it is in training session. You should supposed to understand. That's why at the end of the training, you ask questions, you do evaluations to know the understanding of the training. So I think it can hold. But you can add more if you want to add more.
Thanks for bailing me. I was going to throw it to the class. Please, okay, all right.
Thank you for your presentation. Mine is just to create some sense of humor. When you started your presentation, I noticed, so I got 46 out of your presentation.
I think my brother is listening, so I think he's also going to score me, but no problem. On the environmental bit, okay, so you only touch base on, only waste management, okay, but the other things that we can do to impact the environment, okay, so you could have given examples as even the smoke from factories and all those things, greenhouse gases, scope 1, scope 2 emissions and all those things. You could have given us examples. And also with the waste segregation, okay, I was thinking you could maybe have pictures, okay, of just an example of maybe waste that are common to all our operations, like plastics, like papers, okay, how they segregate them. Okay, so thank you very much.
As I said, I'm here to report. You look interesting, very sweet, beautiful. Right now you are laughing. You are laughing, but when you were presenting, I was telling them you are like a straight lecturer. You were too straight jacket, like, yeah, she said you are strict. But in all, I loved everything that you did. I've learned a lot from what you presented. So keep it up, but please loosen up small. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Okay. Hey. It has to do with the hazard. You made mention of the washroom. Okay. Before health and safety. Sorry, health and safety. That's what she's spoken about. Now, on the first day we handled it in a way. I think Mrs. Opon handled it for us. You gave a typical example of the washroom. When do we know this washroom is appropriate? Because you showed a picture where there was, we call it the huitum. Okay. In certain communities, there are standards. So how would you know that this washroom is safe for this particular environment? Because if you go, let's say in the rural areas, now even in the cities, people are doing this biofuel. But some are not so user-friendly, or because of the stench, because of the way they are installed. Someone sees, it's good for my company. But is it the standard? How do you measure some of these things? Maybe they are well maintained, but the stench, and there are some long-term effects to the staff or the users of the facility. How do you
How do you manage it? I think, let me help you. So in this case, is the management of the company. If you have health and safety officer on site, you're supposed to lead that, because we are all trying to save the environment by doing this, going to circular economy, trying to reuse some of the products and save energy, save all those things. But it shouldn't be at the cost of human health. So before you agree to do that, you should do the risk assessment. You should assess every potential hazard associated with that project and look for controls. If you can't control, don't do it. Go your normal way. Because which is the normal way? The normal way is the one that the AU before and the big truck will come and pick it. That's the normal way. Now, Zoomlion is trying to convert it. So they've started doing it. They have one factory at Bukom. They have one at AJ Kotoku. They are doing it. Yes, so that's the normal one that we all know. When it gets filled up, they will come and just send it somewhere that they can treat it. Other than that, if you want to do it yourself, then you should apply the right technologies so that it will not have health effect on your employees or those around the locality. Yes. 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 And if it's something that will have impact on the environment, you have to go to EPA. Let them come and assess it and approve before you can do it. You can't just get up and do it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie B. A moment. I'm not an expert in that area, but I am quite interested in the SDGs. So I read a lot of, call me a junk reader, anything in that area, I'm interested. I know that because there is unavailability or shortage of water in some places, especially the rural areas, now they are building creative ways of managing waste, as well as the health of the people. So when you go to places like the old parts of Kumasi, like Bantama, a lot of the big compound houses you see don't have washrooms. But now they have those washrooms that if you have a space, it doesn't take water. They come and pick the waste. It's similar to KVIP. It's not KVIP. The one they lift the thing under, I don't know the name. Aha. So, no, not that one. Aha. So they pick it the way Zoomlion picks the garbage. And look at your environment. If you don't have water in your community, those times adenta. If you have the regular, like what we have here, you will struggle. So ideally, these considerations should be made before the structure is put up. if you are a public building, what we have here is very perfect. You have a space for the physically challenged. Even the stairs they will climb, you have a space like so. Ideally, this should be done before the building is constructed, bringing in the expertise of those in that area. But most of the buildings are already there, so they are trying to do adjustments here and there. I'm sure the experts people can do better.
Okay, I am giving a little feedback to the hotel. The ladies' washroom, since Monday, we don't have soap there. And this is a time when we need soap. And the whole place, I never saw sanitizers around. Are there any? I didn't see sanitizers around for a whole hotel at this particular time in hand when COVID is around. We don't have soap to wash our hands when we visit the washroom, and there are no sanitizers around. So, so please, health and safety. Feedback to the hotel, please.
Please send it to them. Thank you, my dear sister. I wanted to say that, but because they said we'll do the feedback and the hotel, I'm going to say a very interesting thing. The dustbins in the ladies' restroom, they are so big and high. So when you sit on the system, the toilet is and you have big hips, I mean, you are so squashed, you feel so uncomfortable. I would advise that they get lower dustbins because it's very uncomfortable for those of us who are big. Thank you very much. Then the evaluation, you have to write more. Are we done? So we are done. Okay. So I think you have to use a lot of images. As for health and safety, as you are seeing, it will scare you. So I always start my presentation with scary videos. You will see and say, yes. So try, because if you just say it, I say, but when they see it, then they'll say, hey, this is what is going to happen to me. So please try and, at this particular age, try and add more images. And you say you are a fan of SDGs, so you should have more information on the environment. Yes. On that note, let's clap for her. The group.
Let me conclude my side. Auntie, please, Doc, how many of us knew that yesterday was her birthday? So I am leaving the seed, and as we are concluding, let's give her a happy birthday shout out.
Happy birthday, happy birthday. Please, your slides, please give them to Mr. Osei. Please send your slides to Mr. We should have 20 of them. Please. So when you get to your end, just end it today. And yeah, it's the same. So you give it.
Okay, so we are Group 10, and we are representing on evaluating quality. These are the names of my group members. They actually made us have a wonderful time discussing this topic, and I hope that across all our sectors, we would find something that helps us to assess quality better. Okay, our learning objectives. We hope and aim that at the end of this presentation, we should be able to define quality control, to understand its objectives, to understand how to implement quality control in our various sectors, to discover tools for evaluating quality, and to appreciate the cost and benefit of quality control. Now I have a question. So assuming you walk into a hospital, you have a relative who is going under the knife, and then just before you push the person in, you see the group of doctors going there, do something like this. Okay, so that was heads. We will take protocol A. What will your reaction be? Two answers. Ayeka. For those who don't understand Chi, which means it has become it has become a debt. Okay. Answer number 2. A debt. Yes, that's, I think that's the literal translation. A second answer. Your chances of survival is being determined by a coin. That's interesting. But what if those two protocols they were choosing between are actually standard protocols? Will you still be comfortable? No. Okay, can we then say that quality can get out of control? Think about it for a second. Can we then say quality can get out of control? Let's think about it carefully. So, quality control are processes which are involved, processes that make up the entire system to make sure you have consistency, you are meeting standards, and well, in the long run, that customer satisfaction is achieved. Now, this procedure or these processes of consistency are perpetual standard compliance, which means that across every sector, there is a standard that you have to meet. It's not the same everywhere. I'm from a chemical industry. We report to different people. FDA monitors us strictly. GRA has, GSA has what they also do for us. Anyone in the educational sector? Anyone? Educational sector. Who monitors you? Who gives you your standards? GES. Okay, finance. Who gives you your standards? Or you create it yourselves? No. Hey, the same. Plenty. There's ACCA. There's what? ICA. What again? I don't know. What about logistics? Anyone for logistics? Minerals Commission. That's nice. Every sector has its standard. You have governing authorities who have set a benchmark for you. You have your own internal standards, but no matter what your internal standards are, they are eventually going to come into compliance with what your governing authority has set for you. Now, quality control is any process that you bring together to make sure that consistently you are meeting these standards. Perpetually, that means everlasting, forevermore. You aren't going to go below those standards, which means you do not have the luxury to say that even this is a quality method. I want to mix this and mix this and mix this, and then in my industry, I will have an antiseptic. Then the next day I decide that, let me increase it a little more. It will get there, and then I do it. And then in my third production, I decide, let me change this one a little more. It will get there. It doesn't work, because before I could go ahead and do that mass production, my governing authority must be able to give me a go-ahead on exactly the quantities that are involved in that one bottle I produce on the market. And so quality can't get out of control when it is left to the whims and decisions of any one individual, changing things at any time. Let's look at it for the educational sector. What happens if you take your first child to Alpha Beta? It's Alpha Beta here, I heard their name. I've been beside them for a long time. Let me see if you are from Alpha Beta. Oh, only one person is here. I want my child to come there, oh, so please raise your hand. Okay, so Alpha Beta is here. What happens if you decide, that the first batch of students that came there, the lunch that you were serving them was hot from the kitchen, fresh, everything fine. You used to give them, then now the next batch of students that you get, you decide, this is our quality, let's modify it a little. We still want it to be top notch, but instead of ordering it from the kitchen, we'll decide that only Chinese people will produce for us for the second batch of people who come. So my first child came there, knows this type of food. The second child comes there, it's only sushi you are serving. Meanwhile, that's not what I know that you do. But you think you are improving your quality. Then the third batch that comes in, you decide that, oh, it will be only Indian food because you are raising your bar. After a while, it begins to get confusing. What exactly are you doing? Quality control means that at any point in time, from home to kitchen or whatever, we are setting the same thing. So what do we aim at in quality control? We aim at making acceptable decisions. These decisions are not based on your priorities or your whims. These are based on what your standards you have set and your governing authorities have set for you. It aims at being able to address rework. What is rework? That little line of error that just didn't go as you planned. Is there a system that can manage it to bring it back to standard, or even give it something that was a little better than what you did before, and then you could work on it for another project? Quality control aims at that as well. It also aims at process adjustment. Look in your various sectors. At which point do you often have to flip a coin to decide what to do? Think about it. Look through your own processes, whether it is admission of children into your school, whether it's logistics, the type of car that delivers what. At which point do you mentally flip a coin to decide, okay, let's go this way or that way? Quality control aims at bringing that particular part to light and looking for how can we do it so that whether I am here or not, we do the same thing every single time. So we all know the PDCA cycle. We've said it, true or false? We've talked about it almost through this whole 3-day presentation. Plan, do, check. How does it work for quality control? So in your various sectors, if you actually were able to identify a place where you flip a coin in your mind, or you make a decision based on what is happening at that point in time, you might want to go back and start looking at a protocol you can set for that area. In the manufacturing industry, right from the time we get our raw materials, we have a set standard. If it doesn't have this percentage, we don't want it. If it doesn't smell like this, we don't want it. If I test it and the value is not between 80 and 90, I don't want it. If the pH is less than 5, I don't want it. In accounts, I don't know what you do. But how do you audit yourself? Do you have a plan over there that when someone brings you a report and the figures don't attain a certain range, you don't want it, because then it means something is not going too well. In your educational institution, when a child is brought, when there's admission, when there's a report of a problem, when you see something you even want to go ahead and do, a change you want to implement, do you have a document you can look at and say, this would work for us, this won't work for us? So planning for quality control simply means get an objective, get a target, get a standard operating procedure, get a standard testing procedure, get some form of written documentation that you can always refer to make sure that the process is always the same. Then implement it. And after you've implemented it, be sure to check it. And when you check it and you still seem to have some issues, or there needs to be some adjustment somewhere, be sure to make the move to act on them. ISO 9001 clause 9, it talks about evaluation. It says you need to be able to determine what, how, and when the system needs to be monitored, when it needs to be measured, analyzed, and evaluated. So evaluation of whatever system you bring in place involves physical checks, it involves documentation, and it involves visual representation. In physical checks, it means that we need to be able to get somebody to come and look at this thing that we have written that we want to do. Are we actually doing it? And some people say at that point that quality control can be expensive. Can it? You agree? Is it too expensive? On a scale of 1 to 5, what will you rate it as? 5. 5. Very expensive. Is it because of the personnel or the procedure? What do you think? Is it because of the personnel or the procedure? The procedure. Who else? Who thinks personnel? Both. Oh, how many of us say both? How many of us say it's because of the procedure? How many of us say it's because of... How many of us don't know what we want to say right now? How many of us are not sure which answer to give so that nobody will look at our face? Thank you for being honest. Okay. So yes, it can be when you look at it in terms of physical checks, the audits that need to be done, the in-process. At every step, you need to be able to go back and have a third eye. Is it really going on well? So you have teachers teaching preschoolers, and there's no supervisor over them. Meanwhile, you've written a document that there should not be more than 10 children in the class at a time. And out of those 10 children in the classroom, you shouldn't have 3 people playing with one toy. And nobody is going around to look at what is happening. There's no camera that someone is even monitoring or checking. How do you call that quality control? So, as part of all of the things we have learned about quality, if you do not evaluate it, if you do not go back to cross-check, if you don't go back to measure whether it is working or not, then you don't have a quality control system in place, and you have not achieved precision quality. Documentation. When the person went to see that there were 3 children playing with one toy, was it written? Was something checked? So that the next time you can go back and see how frequently is this happening. Maybe just that one time it wasn't an issue. The teacher was overlooked it, but you drew their attention to it because you saw it. Is it happening multiple times? If you are sewing over here, do you have somebody who is cutting a certain pattern the wrong way more than once? How often? We say quality control is expensive, but someone once said, if you want to know how expensive education is, try ignorance. As simple as that. If you want to know how expensive quality control can be, try quality out of control. You realize that, and I believe one of our groups did it when they did the cost of quality and gave us some slides. The amount of money that goes into trying to prevent the mistakes, the amount of money that goes into correcting large mistakes, the amount of money that goes into you having to go back and say sorry and losing contracts and losing big businesses and stuff like that is way more than you could ever imagine. And so the benefits of evaluating quality is that as expensive as it may seem, you actually get to reduce costs because you cut all the areas where you could have had your losses, and then you can start making some meaningful profit over time. Added value. I should be able to walk to Happy Kids School and say that these people teach the same way. I've had 4 children going through the school, and all of them have had this level of growth. It's not about whether they are always first in class. They have seen this type of growth over time. When I come to a construction firm, am I always getting the same type of bricks as when I built my first house? When I come to a logistics company and I'm always ordering stuff and you are doing freighting and things, do I have the same quality of service simply because you have your audits and your checks in place? Improve customer delight. Whereas quality control may not make everybody happy because we all have our tastes and preferences. Because we have one standard and we have not moved away from our standard, customers who know the standard can be comfortable with the standard. And when you add all the other things we have learned in our precision quality workshop, you can be sure that you are moving your customers from just a state of satisfaction to definitely one of delight. We hope that as you have gone through this quality control, you can think about those areas where you would have flipped the coin. And when you go back, rather than flip a coin, draw out a policy for yourself so someone can follow. Thank you.
Last but indeed not the least. Okay, so the applause shows that, but still, we want feedback, whether positive or negative. So let's give feedback.
Please, your name. Oh, okay, that's an. That's a good presentation. Can you go back on the ISO? Yeah, okay. When you are giving slides like that, the ISO 9001, we have different. You have 2015, 2018. So please be specific when you are stating. Then there's something they said. I don't agree with them. I think you hammered on that. If you think quality is expensive, you are telling lies. You can just cast your mind back. Mawako, you can remember Mawako issue. You think the hospital bills and the rest they paid is so expensive. It's just because they are being negligent. So if you have the mindset, you see the mindset again. If you have the mindset that quality is expensive, the day is just like you doing insurance. Oh, I've been paying insurance every day. The day that you say, oh, I'll stop paying you, that's the day you have an issue. So please, nobody should have it in mind. If you have that in mind that quality is expensive, when you are doing it, you won't do it with passion. Never think that it's expensive.
Thank you very much, Mayomi. I'm happy I belong to Group 10. Clap for Group 10. Yes, clap for Group 10. Clap for Group 10. Clap for Group 10. I'm an HR person. We motivate. I am here to motivate my little sister. In fact, she's my child. Thank you very much. And then I am here to motivate Kola. He was our second presenter. Thank you very much. And this goes to Kofi Boateng, who was ascribed. Group 10, Nana, we do all. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think the woman wanted to talk.
Let me stand up so that I can also motivate. Ladies and gentlemen, I think throughout the time we have been talking about customers. But there's one customer whom we are not talking about. Truly speaking, if you get that customer, I'm going to motivate you. So which customer is this? We think it's not our customer, but actually it's our customer. Who is this person? Huh? She got it too quickly. Oh, so I'll motivate you. Let's clap hands for her. Yes, I'm going to motivate her. Ladies and gentlemen, there's this issue that people look to the external people whom we are saving. When he comes to me and say, can I have the bill of what which we did? Yeah, you know this order, you are part of why we are behind with this order. I'm busy. I'll save you later, eh? I'll save you. By so doing, you are also contributing to the non-maximum performance of your company. Then I just wanted, let me now sit. It was mainly about the customer, and I'll motivate you. I want to talk about quality assurance and quality control. What is the difference? there's a difference, and then I'll motivate you again. What is the difference between quality assurance and quality control? Because one of them would lead to these losses, which we have been talking about. One of them leads to the recalling of products.
Okay, thank you very much. I will put it in a simple terms. Quality assurance, they are mostly the policemen in the company. They ensure that the right thing is done. That is quality assurance. Then quality control is also another side. They look at the quality of the product, how the product is produced based on specifications. So that is quality control, to ensure, also to make sure that the thing is within the specification and standards.
The motivation is covered. Okay, so let me add on the definition, the distinction. So when you say quality assurance involves everyone, from the security man to the CEO. Whatever you are doing, yesterday we were talking about internal customer. So whatever you are doing, quality assurance means, so quality control is a subset of quality assurance. Quality assurance means if this bottle is coming from you to the next person, make sure that there's nothing wrong with it. So in this case, you are assuring that there is quality. What the customer is asking for is what you are passing on. So we say something, don't pass on garbage. If you are doing it and you realize that when it moves to the next stage, at the end of the day, there could be issues, just pull it back, stop it. If you can redo it, do it. But quality control, they will wait like 10 batches. They come and pick one. By the time you come, the harm has been caused already. So it will go and come back. So now we don't even encourage quality control. We encourage quality assurance. Okay.
But we also noticed that for a lot of companies, especially those in the manufacturing sector, the focus when it comes to quality is usually the external, just like you mentioned. But we noticed that as we are here, if we learn that we can all be policemen in the company, I can give you a typical example. You notice that I think some years ago, Nestle had a problem with idle milk. And I'm asking myself, they have a shop at Nestle for staff. So staff are also patronizing the product. Is it that staff weren't giving feedback to the company, or the company refused to take the feedback that the staff was given? You understand? So if we tend to listen to the internal customer, it will save us the harm when it gets outside.
Yes, thank you. There's one other thing I would want to, in fact, it's a question and I don't know whether it's a contribution or something. You see, in 2013, I think when Microsoft announced that they had acquired Nokia, the CEO of Nokia made a very sad statement. He said they did nothing wrong as Nokia. And we all know Nokia had very quality phones. He said we did nothing wrong, but some way, somehow we lost. And he literally shed tears. This is about adding value and sustaining your quality. There are times that you don't have to be too rigid because you know your quality, world-class standard. So you've chosen not to change. These Chinese people will bring in new things, funny styles. That will make you lose your market. So you should be very concerned about adding value. In fact, all the time look for ways to improve, even though at the moment you have the quality or the most quality, whatever, world class, but always be on the verge of looking for ways to improve. You should know that once technology keeps on moving, there will be always new ways to improve. Don't be like Nokia. They still have quality phones, but you're not buying. And like you said, they've lost. It's not because they are not quality. They are quality, but they've still lost. So that is a little contribution I would want to make.
All right, just to add a little to what Benny said. Yeah, the reason why you should focus on the quality assurance rather than the control is that the quality assurance is proactive, and that of the control is reactive. So you need to, based on what, concentrate on the assurance.
Okay, we are ready to go for lunch, right? Okay, so this young lady came to me, Madam, I thought we were doing only one presentation. I have deleted my presentation. How am I going to do it? I told her, aren't you the one who prepared the slides? Yes, I did. Yes, then you can talk without the slides. And indeed, he has done that. Please clap for him. So you see, you don't need to have lengthy slides. You just have to know your content, then you'll be able to present. Before we go for lunch, Edwin has something for us.
Thank you very much. So we are distributing the lunch coupons. Please have, from this side, have you all gotten the coupons?